I'm back with a new video after a really busy summer. Between spending time in the garden, getting to grips with all the plants and flowers, a whirlwind trip to Scotland to see family, and a last of the summer sun trip to Cornwall, there were only snippets of time for art. Fortunately, the 100-day project and iCAD kept me going and allowed for small finishes in between all the busyness of the last few months. Putting these little works of art together kept my creativity going and have subsequently provided me with a resource which I can refer to when I'm looking for inspiration. Now that the weather's changing with more rain and cooler temperatures, it is definitely feeling more like proper autumn, and I'm craving getting back to my art table and working on something bigger. Whenever that happens, I like to grab my Dylusions journal and some magazine images and get started on something new. When choosing what images to use, I take note of the colors and themes of the images that take my fancy and try and pick ephemera and jelly prints that will go together. In this case, I've picked images that have yellow ochre and deep greens, which reflect the autumnal season. I play with the placements of each of the images, seeing what might fit well together. And when I'm happy, I glue everything down with a glue stick. The initial layout looks quite disjointed, so by adding gesso and some initial coordinating colors in between the elements and into the blank areas, the whole spread begins to read as one. Once the paint is dry, I go in and add collage and jelly prints, picking pieces that match the colors already on the page. I add them in, filling the gaps in an effort to bring the elements together. I love using jelly printed tissue paper and printed tissue paper so the colors and elements of the earlier layers can peek through. Once everything is really dry, I can go in with another layer, this time adding drops of acrylic ink and fluid acrylic paint, which I activate with water. I let the colors mix and merge together and resist the urge to speed up the drying time, but rather leave it to dry naturally overnight. The next day, once that layer is dry, I look at the page and see where there's still gaps and fill them in with matching paint to try and make the elements blend into the surface. It's trial and error mixing up the colors to match them as close as possible to the images on the page. A little goes a long way, and I'm keeping a light touch as I feather the paint into the background. Using any leftover paint, I can add some mark making. Because I'm using the same colors, it looks coordinated, and at this point, the spread feels like it's coming together as one finished piece. Another day and another layer. This layer is all about transparent collage and ephemera in coordinating colors. I like using postage stamps, rusted printed paper, old letters, vintage bus tickets. As long as they're in the same color family, they can blend in and become part of the story. They add interest and detail in a subtle way. The quote I'm adding comes from an old magazine and gets added to the spread. Even the images on the offcuts, which were on the reverse, catch my eye, and they too get added to the page. Once everything is dry, I grab my Inktense pencils and add pigment to the edge of the page and around the elements. I activate the pigment with a water brush. You could use any water-soluble pen or crayon to add puddles of color, as it helps to further blend everything in. It's now looking close to being finished, but before I call it done, I add some doodles and mark making with some Posca pens. Dots and dashes, circles and lines are added in the gaps. The very last thing I add are some Tim Holtz rub-on numbers. I like adding them over the postage stamps, as again it helps to blend those elements into the background. I'm quite pleased with the finished page, and it spurred me on to make more. I hope you've enjoyed watching the process, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.